this morning we're going to be tying a micro mayfly pattern. It's in the nymphal stage. I like a hook if I'm going to tie a real small fly that has a wider gap. There are a lot of good choices out there. This is a 2457, a 2488 would also work. Tiemco 921 would also work. So we've got a bead on already. We've got a base wrap of olive Lagerton thread. We're going to put in 3 or 4 pieces of pheasant tail off the back as the tail. We'll kind of measure those to about the length of the body, the shank here. Lay those in. If you're tying this in a slightly larger size, you know, it's nice to have a few more in there, as these can break off. So I've got the tail tied in. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in my rib. It's going to be just a straight copper in a small size. If you're tying real small stuff, you may use something like extra small ultra wire. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to wind the abdomen. I'm going to use a little piece of olive stripped goose biot. I like the segmentation. You know, if you go to either end of your piece of biot, there you can usually find one that's going to work for the real small sizes. Of course, on film it's a little bit hard to tie, you know, size 20s and stuff like that, so we're doing a little bit bigger fly today. When I work with biots, I like to put a little drop of Zap-A-Gap on the shank just to help keep it in place. And of course, in this instance, we'll be reinforcing with wire too.
Now this isn't exactly what the pattern calls for, this body.
There are a few modifications, yeah. Mike Mercer created this pattern, and he uses peacock herl and then rubs off the herl part of it and just uses the kind of stem of it. And while that obviously is a very effective deal, I just kind of like the biots better. They're a little bit easier to use in the sense that you don't have to, you know, work on the feather a bunch before you get it into position to tie it.
And these stripped goose biots are available in a variety of colors, so
a lot of colors to choose from. You could use turkey too if you weren't able to find the right color. And again, since we're reinforcing it, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. See, great segmented body there, and then just to kind of double reinforce that, we'll make a few wraps of wire over the top of it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in a couple pieces of Flashabou. I like to. We don't want to overdo it. The idea here is just to kind of have a show of vulnerability here of the fly. When the wing case is splitting and they're coming up off the bottom, you know, the fish sometimes really, especially if they're tough, key in on that aspect. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of turkey tail. I've pre-treated this with Softex, and I've used this a bunch on other flies, you know, that we've done here on the blog. I like it because you can take a feather, reinforce the thing, and it becomes ultra durable. I mean, it's really pretty much as tough as it gets. Cut off a small piece of that. And so I treat the feather, but you know, the feather itself acts a lot like it would if you didn't. You know, you can make a small cut and kind of have a nice little piece for yourself. Turn that down just a bit more. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a couple pieces of peacock herl. Knew we'd get it in there one way or another. Got about 3 or 4 of those. Again, you would adjust how many you took depending on how big the fly is. So, you know, proportionate speaking, that's what you'd want to do. I give it a little bit of a twist just to make it easier to wrap forward. I'm going to leave that off to the side for just a second, the remaining excess here. We're going to pull off about 6 more pieces of ring neck. This is going to be the legs here. So I just take kind of all 6 of them. A bit of moisture to help keep them together. Now I'm going to take the wing case and that flash boo and pull them both over at the same time. I'm going to take that peacock pearl, just make the kind of the forward collar there. So traditionally this would be finished off with a small drop of epoxy. But today what we're going to do actually is we're going to use clear cure goo. This is the thick.
Now you could put that on your bodkin as well, right?
Definitely. Once that's on there, we're going to take our light. Just a second or 2 more. There you have a completed micro mayfly. Very effective fly for sensitive fish. It's one of my favorites. I hope it's one of yours too.